Hello everyone. I don't know if you can see, I'm trying to show you the view from my office. And then here is Frau Grimm in her element of her school office. So yeah, here to give my weekly update, Grimm Chronicles episode 22. And I'm a little scattered because, well, for one thing, I'm in my office here trying to get organized, and I can show you, you've seen this before, of the map that was in the back sometime in my videos at home is now back where it should be, which is in here. And let me see, now you're all crooked. And also where my reading is being influenced by the fact that we're culling and sorting and getting rid of books at home in advance of our carpet being torn up. And it's funny how the only thing we have a lot of is books. It's just the way it is when you have two. I mean, Bill was ABD. He was also an academic for a while, and then he decided he'd had enough of it. And then me. And so, but you do kind of like think, well, am I really going to read? How many of these books am I really ever going to read again, or consult, or miss for whatever reasons? And it does affect your actual reading, or it is affecting mine to a certain degree. So I'm continuing on with Karenina, and I'm still not going to talk a lot about it. One day I will. I mean, it's such a long novel. I've just reached page 400, and I love it. And the only thing I'll say this week is I think it's a good gateway classic for someone who's a little bit apprehensive of classics, because it's so character driven, and at least I'm getting really attached to these characters. That's what keeps you going. It's not particularly difficult in terms of the prose or the plotting. I mean, it's not experimental. It's not even as psychological as someone like Dostoevsky, who I also love, but I think Tolstoy is more of the societal aspects. So if you're thinking of one, it is long, they're long, and there's a lot of people, but it's very engrossing. And I'm just taking my sweet time with it just because of, other things going on. As I recall, I had said I would continue with Bad News by Edward St Aubyn, and that's kind of halted a little bit. I still kind of think I might get to it at some point. And then I did continue on with the book I'm reviewing, Lafcadio Hearn's Fairy Tales. So I read the first one, and I'll come back and talk more about it and sort of contextualize it even better. It's basically the fairy tale he's talking about the fisher boy who saves a turtle and gets whisked away to this paradise, and then wants to visit home, and he takes a box with him which he's not supposed to open, and then he opens the box and it's the clouds, and there's also kind of a time passed like more quickly and he didn't realize it. So there's lots of sort of interesting things going on. But then Lafcadio doesn't just tell the tale, he embeds it in his own fictional frame or auto-fictional frame. I mean, it's him, it's not him. And then he sort of complicates things by bringing in another tale. So it really is kind of his sort of frame of, let me tell you these fairy tales. But then he's very, very interesting how he references another translation of it that he has in front of him. And so, of course, I kind of went and looked at that translation too a little bit. So, I'm always kind of, and I have the 4 different books. I actually do have them here that these tales have been pulled from, and I'm always sort of seeing where they're coming from, just to contextualize them for myself. Although I don't know if it's necessary to do that in the edition. It's a funny little book. Let me just get it right here. It's right here. It's from Princeton Press, so reputable university press. And I do kind of like the green, but just in terms of selling it, they could have made more of this. They could have made it have more pictures and stuff. I guess there are some pictures in it, but it's pretty sort of low, not low quality, but just quiet. It's a quiet little book of these fairy tales, and I don't know if it's a decision that they made. And also, I don't know why they picked Andrei Condrescu, this NPR commentator and writer maybe because of the New Orleans, because Lafcadio had a New Orleans connection and he wrote stuff there, so that could be it. And then there's a preface by one of the most sort of reputable, or famous at least, fairy tale people in America, Jack Zipes, and it's a little bit on the superficial side, I think. they kind of just pulled him in to do it. It's very short. Like, he gets one of the dates wrong of the publications of the books, and I think that's, you know, I think it happens that you pull someone in to do something for you and then they don't do a great job, but it's just, I mean, he's been around. Yeah, but I really did really enjoy it. It's quite interesting to read and quite and sort of layered. It's a very layered story. His style reminds me probably most of Hans Christian Andersen, this sort of sentimental 19th century, beautiful nature descriptions. He talks a lot about the sea, and he uses colors a lot. So I would recommend him as his tales in whatever version you want. I'll present the other ones another time, not today. But so I've read a little bit further with that. And what else? So we went to Half Price Books basically to get rid of books because we were culling, and it was interesting talking to them. We had 2 copies of Gravity's Rainbow, and one of them had a signature in it. But I think we're pretty sure it's a fake signature. But the guy was like, ooh. Like, first when we came in, he was a little bit like, don't give us too many books. And then at the end, he couldn't help sort of commenting on, wow, you got some interesting books here. I'm like, yeah, I know. Anyway, so I think we went up in his esteem in terms of what people bring to Half Price Books. And we have more. But I was holding back from I have a hard time. I don't often find things that I like there because I am such a fiction person, and their fiction seems either, you know, you get a ton of Joseph Conrad and then always the same. Like, they don't get the books that you exactly want. I was looking for Josephine Tay, Miss Pin Deposes, and they just had the other one that I already have from there, probably A Daughter in Time. So they're, at least the Hamilton one where we go to his little, but anyway, so the one book I did pick, and of course I didn't bring that one with me, is called The Elementals by Francesca Leah Bloch, because I was looking for something light and just to sort of fit with the all over the place type mood that we're in. And apparently she's a YA author. I didn't know this, but the book was called The Elementals, and it's about a young woman. So I'm interested in college novels set in college situations, so moving to college, and she's sort of, this young woman's going through a lot of difficulties. Her mother is very ill, and her best friend has disappeared mysteriously, also while going on some kind of trip to Berkeley. And so I'm reading it, and I don't think it's going to be, I think it's, I mean, it's good enough for me to want to read it. I'm not sort of blown away by it. The writing is adequate. I mean, it's not enough that I want to throw it to the wall. And I'm sort of waiting for it to become more magical, and I'm not really there yet. So she's just moved in, and she's kind of strange. She's a loner, and she's obsessed with finding her friends, so she keeps giving people flyers, even though the police have already kind of not solved the case. That's kind of the issue. And of course, I think it's gonna, you know, hone in on that the friend has entered some other realm. I don't really know. It's called Elementals, and she's sort of running into strange people and having strange adventures. So yeah, it's a nice, easy nighttime read that, yeah, has only 3.38 stars on Goodreads. I think I saw Sean has read it, Sean from Story Time, and she also was not blown away by it, but some people give it 1 star. Okay, fine. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's 1 star. Maybe if I get angry with it. I don't know if I saw Sean. Yeah, there. Sean. 3 stars from Sean. We'll see. Maybe I'll give it 3 stars too. And the one thing that reminded me a little bit about other college or university novels, specifically centered on women. So there's Dorothy Elsay's Gaudy Night, which was wonderful. So it's a lot of Peter Wimsey, but actually he's, as I remember, he's not that prominent in it. He comes in at the end, but it's Harriet Vane going back to Oxford, I guess, or Cambridge, one of the two, Oxbridge, and having interesting interactions with the woman there, and it was very good. And then another one the Elementals reminds me of, is this one that I really liked, Tam Lin by Pamela Dean. I read this in the early 2000s, and I really liked how it was a nice portrayal of college, small town college life. And she's actually the main young woman. She's from the town, and I think her parents were even professors, the father. And here the magic sort of was quite subtle, as I recall, and not overwhelming. It's not sort of how they do fantasy today. So I really enjoyed this one. I wouldn't mind rereading this one. Have you read Tam Lin by Pamela Dean? she's a good writer. I would like to maybe read other things by her. So this is sort of fantasy that starts out in a realistic location, and then kind of you have portals to whatever. I don't remember that well, but that's how I would describe it. It's not like my audiobook that I'm still listening to, even though it's really long. I'm just into chapter 9, Deadhouse Gates, Steve Eriksen, which is sort of all world building, and you're only in that fantasy world. You're not in our world, and there are portals. It's just, you're just there. Yeah, and I think that's about it. I'm about ready for a bite to eat and some more sorting. There's always a lot to be sorted, and hope everyone is doing well. And I will talk to you. Sorry, this is being done on a Tuesday. It's a bit late, but it doesn't really matter that much. And yeah, talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.